Please call the meeting to order. May we have roll call?
Mayor Segrist.
Present.
Vice Mayor Harden.
Present.
Commissioner Carlisle.
Present.
Commissioner Martinez.
Here.
Commissioner Warren.
Here.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have an invocation?
Would you please join with me as we bow for a word of prayer? Lord, thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. Lord, we know that each day is truly a gift from you. And I pray that you will bless this meeting tonight here in the City Commission chambers, that, Lord, you will give all of our commissioners wisdom as they make decisions tonight and each time they have to come together and do the things, Lord, for our community. We pray that you will give them that direction that they need. We pray for the wisdom of Solomon to be manifest to them, the patience of Job, and the love of Jesus Christ. And Lord, I pray for each one of them here tonight and for their families, that you will help them, keep them in good health and strengthen them. I pray that the joy of the Lord will be their strength. And bless all of the other city employees that work so diligently to make Liberal a great place to live. Bless each and every one of them and their families. Thank you for this time here. And once again, I ask your special blessings of peace in this meeting here tonight. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you
very much.
At this time, we will have awards, proclamations, and presentations. Tony Martinez would like to make the presentation to Nora Laird. Would you come forward, Nora?
Nora, between the thin red line and the thin blue line lies the thinnest gold line. The gold line represents those people who are rarely seen but are mostly heard. The calm voice in the dark night. One of those voices is Nora Laird. She is a dedicated voice between calls of 911 and emergency dispatch city of Liberal, Seward County for the past 34 years. Her employment began in 1984, and since then many things have changed, especially in technology. But Nora remained a constant voice answering those calls from people in need of help. Nora is a dedicated employee and has spent countless days and nights helping our community. There will be a come-and-go retirement reception for Nora this Thursday, June 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Randall Girl Scouts building, and the public is invited to attend to wish her well in her next encore of retirement. Congratulations, Nora, on your retirement. You'll be greatly missed. Your contribution and organizations to this community are far and reaching. We wish you nothing but the best in the next chapter of your life. Congratulations, Nora. Say something, come up, but I want to say one thing. I remember when I came on as a reserve, I was a rookie in 1984, and so were you. And to get a hold of county, we had to call on the CB on Channel 9. Yeah. So technology has changed.
Yes, it has. Well, I appreciate the commission, the City of Liberal, Seward County for putting up with me all these years. It's been a long haul. Every bit of it was good and helped me grow as a person. And I'll miss everybody. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Next is Kelly Kirk. You have some presentations to make
Thank
to the
you.
fire department.
Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you so much for your service.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let me just start by saying thank you to Nora. She's a dear friend, and since I've been at the fire department, she's been one constant at the dispatch center. Known her in different aspects my whole life. We shared a true dear friend in Anita Rogers, the director of the communications center. Known each other forever, and it's going to be truly sad to see her go, but I'm so very happy for her. Well, in trouble without these. I thank you for giving us the time tonight. This is a rare occurrence for the fire department to have promotions at the level that we're talking about tonight, and that's what I want to do, is recognize a couple of individuals. So if I could call up, I'm still going to call him Captain Fornwalt for the moment, and Lieutenant Tyson Rice. Could you guys come up to the front? Also with me here tonight are our Deputy Chief Skeety Polton and our Fire Marshal Cody Regier. They're going to assist with the presentation. Recent events, which I would say that Airport Manager Debbie Giske is very happy about, and you have facilitated as a commission, have it resulted in changes at the airport that are going to create an administrative position within the fire department that we'll designate as the Airport Operations Chief. He's going to have fire department duties, and fire department as a part of Part 139 with the FAA is a big part of the airport's daily operation. And that person will assist the airport manager, and he'll do his fire department duties. And then looking forward with succession planning, not only that person will be groomed and educated, and eventually will be designated to probably take over as the next airport manager, hopefully, if the line of succession works as planned. So what we've done through the fire department through this process is we've made the decision to promote Captain Brian Fornwalt to the Airport Operations Chief position. Brian's been with the department since January of 1999. He came to Liberal fresh out of Hutchinson Community College's Fire Science program. Back in '99, I was a shift captain with the fire department. I had the good fortune to have Brian on my shift for 1 year before I left to a promotion. So I've watched him literally grow from when he came out of college. He came to Liberal, he moved here, he's made a home here. He's married his wife Gladys, got daughters Justice and Olivia, and a son Jordan, and just known them our entire life. And Brian is, again, a very good friend, and it's nice tonight to have the opportunity to promote him from shift captain to Airport Operations Chief, and we'll have a little pinning process here in a moment. With that promotion, that opens up a second promotion within the fire department, and we'll need to fill the C-shift captain's position. We had 2 individuals eligible for that, and last week we went through a process and we made the decision to promote Lieutenant Tyson Rice to the shift captain's position. Tyson joined our department in July of 2008, July 2nd to be exact, so he's only about 5 days away from his 10-year anniversary with the fire department. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2002. So he's kind of on a fast track, but he's served very, very well. And again, Tyson is someone, there are probably people who are just destined to be firefighters, and I think Tyson is one of those. His grandfather, who's in the audience tonight, is going to be a part of this process, is the man that I still call Chief, and that's retired Chief Milton Rice of the Liberal Fire Department. He's the man who either had the wisdom or the misfortune to hire me. I'll let you decide. Tyson has literally been around this all of his life. He's an excellent tactical firefighter, a top shelf EMT, and I believe he's a born leader. So help me to congratulate Tyson Rice on his promotion to shift captain. We'll bring up now Tyson's wife, Mandy, and retired Chief Rice, and they're going to assist us with the pinning process. Tyson will now wear captain's bars. In the fire service, we designate rank by the number of bugles that you wear on your collar. As a lieutenant, Tyson wore 1 bugle, and today he'll promote up and he'll wear a 2nd bugle on his collar. So we're going to rob those away from Brian. sticky. And Tyson has asked that his grandfather be able to pin those on. And Milt, at the city manager's request, I did bring a mallet if you need any help.
I'm just trying to help you out, Tyson, make sure they stop. Good shirt.
Only the best.
Well,
It's harder than it looks.
I knew the mallet was a good idea.
Yeah. He's pretty good with a hammer, so I'm giving it.
Well, I didn't have a uniform like this when I was here.
Yeah, kind of a funny story. Tyson called his granddad when he asked him to do this and said, "Do you still have your Class A uniform?" And I just laughed. They didn't have Class A's back then.
There we go.
The second part of this is on the fire ground. We use helmets to designate officers on the fire ground so they can be identified on site. So we'll let Tyson's wife Mandy present him with his new black fire helmet designating him as a shift captain. In the second half of this, relinquishing his shift captain title, Brian Fornwalt will now carry the operation of chief. We'll call him Chief Fornwalt from now on. So he'll be the airport operations chief, and I believe we'd like to call up his wife Gladys. And is Olivia going to come up as well? Is she too bashful? She is, but she's still coming up. And we'll let them pin the bugles on, and Brian will now wear 3 bugles on his collar with the designation of chief. Should have pre-drilled the holes, maybe. You want the mallet, Gladys? Olivia will present the white chief's helmet. And for the record, it's daughter Jordan and son Justice. I'll chalk that up to nerves. I got some looks when I said that. So. Congratulations, gentlemen. I'm proud of you. And thank you for the time for presenting this evening.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you guys very much.
Y'all deserve it.
Thank you for your hard work. Thank you very much for your service.
Okay, number 2 on the agenda is our agenda for tonight is approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to do that?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda. as presented.
Okay.
Is that an amended agenda or?
Amended with item 16.
Yeah, I think it is amended.
Well, we got a copy.
Yeah, amended agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Harden to approve the amended agenda, adding item 16, which is a fireworks discussion. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. The next item is approval of the minutes for the June 12th, 2018 meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the June 12th, 2018 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Carlisle, second by Commissioner Warren to approve the June 12th commission meetings. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Next is items from citizens. If you wish to address the commission, please come to the podium and state your name and address. And please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Hi, Tony.
Good evening, Tony.
Evening. As you know, as a citizen, I've worked pretty hard on trying to find solutions to flooding problems within the community. And one of the problems that has been identified is the holes in the manhole covers. Tonight, I brought to you a paper where I'm asking you to pass a resolution to within 30 days plug all holes in the manhole covers listed below on this sheet, and any other manhole covers in the area of 2nd Street that you may find that may come under water during a flood event. The 5 that I personally identified at this time would be the first manhole cover in the alley east of Clay Avenue between 2nd and 3rd Street, which has 6 holes on top of it. That manhole cover was underwater during the flood of last August. Also, the first manhole cover west of Clay Avenue in the northwest-southeast drainage trench in the first block north of 2nd Street. The second manhole cover west of Clay Avenue in the northwest-southeast drainage trench in the first block north of 2nd Street. The manhole in 2nd Street north of the alley between Prospect and Jordan, which has 4 holes in it. And the manhole in the intersection of 2nd Street and Prospect, which has 6 holes in it. I, of course, have notified you guys with some of my Facebook messages and emails, and I can send you some more. I would appreciate if this resolution was passed tonight, where we could get this underway and get this taken care of before we have another flooding event where homes like mine and others would be damaged. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Just to clarify, I don't think we have to pass a resolution for something like this, right? I mean, it could just be general maintenance that's conducted.
It is general maintenance, and like I addressed the last time, I mean, they are a concern to us, but right now we have some major concerns with wastewater. We've had the crane operator out there. We had to completely rebuild the digester. We have actually broke permit every month this quarter. I'm now trying to put things together so we can work with the EPA. We're looking at new polymers. I mean, yes, this is a priority, but it's not the #1 priority because we need to make sure that 20,000 people in Liberal can flush their toilets and take a shower. And it will be addressed as soon as we have the staff available that we can pull off there. We haven't even been doing line cleanings. Our major function right now is, and all wastewater staff is keeping the plant operational.
Is there any staff from any other department that would be capable of plugging the holes if we could find an affordable solution to do so?
Yeah, I mean, all we're gonna do is, because like 2nd Street, everything on 2nd Street, when that's done, we will actually put sealed lids there. Basically for right now, all we can do is find a carriage bolt, put silicone around the head, pop it through the hole.
Well, and I know from speaking with Tony, he had said that he found a couple websites that sold like actual pre-made solutions that weren't too expensive for this. So if it's something that we could fix all 5 of these different manholes, you know, with only a couple days of labor, and it's pretty cheap money-wise, do you think it's something that we could possibly try to go ahead and start moving on? Excuse me.
I mean, we've been looking at it. I mean, you know,
absolutely.
We've got a lot of things going this time of year.
Have you, I'm just asking this question, but have you went through this list and agreed that these manholes end up underwater or no?
This is the first time I've seen this
Yeah,
list.
he just brought this to us tonight.
I mean,
Okay.
I mean, the key reason for those
yeah.
holes was for ventilation anyway, to let the sewer gas escape. Once we seal up all the manhole lids, then we'll have more sewer complaints than you can shake a stick at, because of dry P-traps and people with improper vents. So it's
Could they
double-edged
still
sword.
ventilate properly if we covered some of the holes but left a couple of them?
Well, I mean, the intent now with wastewater is that you have a totally sealed system. That is the intent, but then to go that way. But it has another result, is the hydrogen sulfide gas then has to find a way to escape, and it's through people's sewer vents. And if their vent, or if they have a dry P-trap, it's coming in their house. But yeah, we will address it. And the problem with the prefab plugs, and I've talked to my vendors, is because back when most of these manholes were made back in the 40s, there was like 90 different foundries, and so none of the holes are uniform.
So they'd be varying sizes.
Yeah, so I mean, our best bet until we can get sealed manhole lids, and in order to do that, you have to bust out the street around it, pull the entire ring out, and basically build the manhole up. And I was talking to a guy, and it was about $4,200 a hole for a project they did in Salina, a contractor.
You went out and threw sandbags over these manhole covers, would it slow the water down for, since you said we don't have time to?
Yeah, but all of them are in the street.
Yeah, they're in the middle of the road.
They're in the street.
But I wonder, it should, judging by the amount of manholes we have, it should only take, any member of city staff that would fall applicably into this department an hour to be able to go around and at least take a picture of each one so we know exactly what we're looking at. That way we can try to do everything we can towards it, because if there is a simple solution that's also very affordable that we can easily implement, then it's definitely something that I think we should pursue. But if it turns out that all of the holes are different, there's not really a good solution, it's going to be expensive, then I agree with you that we should wait. But we should, in my opinion, at least look into taking pictures to see what we can do.
The problem is trying to get somebody out there right now.
Gotcha. Is there anybody from any of the other departments that we can task this with?
I guess I can go out there and do it.
I was going to say, I could take some time out and take some pictures.
They're going to have knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you got to have a sewer hook, and you got to have a little bit of knowledge. It's not,
Gotcha.
You're not going to take somebody mowing the park and send them out there to do this.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it really should be a certified wastewater operator, so when we pull the ring, we know what we're looking at. If there's a problem with that manhole, it might need to be addressed immediately.
Okay, we will leave this in your hands then, Cal. Okay. Does anyone else have something?
I could answer some of the things that have come up.
Just a minute, you've had your time. We have someone else.
Good evening, Mr. Prater.
Hello. My name is Tyler Prater, and I've been a citizen of Liberal my entire life. That's for 33 years, and I was born here, and Lord willing, I intend to be buried here. I love this community. I'm invested in it. Feel blessed to raise a family here. Honestly, I want nothing but the best for my city. I serve as the associate pastor at Fellowship Baptist Church. I've been on staff there for 12 years. Our church is incredibly committed to our community. We strive to show what we call liberal love to the best of our ability. What I'm about to read to you is a letter from our pastor, Bill Prater, who's unable to be at the meeting tonight due to being out of town. I want you as commissioners to know our heart behind what I'm about to read. First, I want to thank you for giving us as citizens the opportunity to voice our concerns, and certainly thanks for listening. Second, let me say that our pastor encourages us as a congregation regularly to pray for our community leaders by name, and that includes you as a commission. We know that God has put you in a very important position, and we sincerely pray for you all. And whether or not this letter influences your vote tonight will not change the way we pray for you, will not change our church's mission to show liberal love to our community. I'll now read the letter penned by our pastor, and a letter that reflects the heart of our congregation. Dear Commissioners, please forgive me for not being present at tonight's meeting and for allowing my concerns to be expressed by means of this written statement. It was with much dismay that I read the agenda for tonight's meeting and saw that item number 7 is a proposed ordinance authorizing Sunday and certain holiday sales of alcoholic liquor and C&B, or cereal malt beverages. Unfortunately, I've witnessed the abuses of alcohol and the devastating effects it has on marriages and families for all of my 57 years of life. I was raised in a home with 2 alcoholic parents, so I know whereof I speak. It's not pretty, and the emotional impact the abuse of alcohol has on children is very great. For approximately 15 years now, my wife Katie and I have volunteered as police response advocates for Liberal area rape crisis and domestic violence services. Each of us have witnessed the horror caused by the use of alcohol. We've seen the battered and bruised bodies of the victims. We've seen the traumatized children as they have been forced to watch these horrific events and have at times even been victims themselves. As a pastor, I have on more occasions than I care to count been asked to try and help marriages that have been all but destroyed because of alcohol. All of this is not to mention the fact that I personally find it in extremely poor taste to bring this issue forth publicly at this time in light of the recent deaths of 2 area young people whose lives were tragically cut short as the result of a presumably drunk driver right here in our own city. I would have hoped that you as leaders would have exercised more discernment. If I understand this proposal correctly, it is primarily an economic one. But I would ask you, how much is a life worth? How much is a marriage worth? How much is the safety and well-being of our community's children worth? I do understand that those who are going to drink on Sunday may very well go elsewhere to buy their liquor. But is the small amount of what may be gained financially really worth what could be lost? Personally, I don't think so. And yes, the state may very well pass legislation next year that may make the practices in proposed ordinance 4501 legal in the state of Kansas. But that doesn't mean our city has to make it legal right now. Who knows how many lives may be saved, and how many homes may remain intact, and how many children may be spared from the ill effects of alcohol use. Even if it's just one of these, it's worth setting aside just 1 day out of 7 in our community to make it impossible for more ready access to drinking. Therefore, I respectfully ask that you vote no to allow ordinance number 4501 to be put into effect. Sincerely, Pastor Bill Prater, Fellowship Baptist Church. Again, thank you for letting our voice be heard, and please know that respectfully we pray for you on a regular basis as you lead our community, and we look forward as a church to continue our mission of showing liberal love to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler. Anyone else want to come forward? Sarah?
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Sarah Thompson. I, about a year ago, addressed the concern I had with some of the then commissioners over at Mahuron Park on the south side, the sidewalks. There are about 9 squares of the sidewalk that have, when they were wet, they were written in profanities. Like one is a big F, and then the next you can imagine what they spell. And I got responses from the commissioners I contacted that day, with one of them within 5 minutes, that they would talk to the Parks Department and get that taken care of. You know, we have kids that play in that park. We have people that walk that. I saw it because I was walking my dog in that park. There were kids there while I was walking. And that's not something that, if I had a child, that I would want them walking down the sidewalk and reading. To my knowledge, I have not seen that that has been addressed. And I would just like to bring it to the attention again and see if we can look into
I think that needs to be addressed right away.
Yeah, because it's been over a year.
Like tomorrow.
I'm sorry, this is the first I've heard of this.
Yeah,
Right, I was lax in getting back in touch with those. I did address it one more time with the then commissioners that I had visited with, and then things changed and life got hectic, and so here I am now.
Perfect. Yeah, I definitely think that's something we need to look. Can we just like smooth over the top of it with more concrete?
I think we just need to.
Can we grind
Could you
that
smooth
out?
over and it's
No,
going to pop out?
you've got a
It's gonna be-
contractor right there, the only thing you do is
It's
pull
just
that slab and re-pour it.
I
So
also believe that there is either on the, let me think of my directions. There's another one either on the east side or on the north side, but I think it was just one. But on the south side, it's like 9 squares long of profanities.
I think we can get that addressed.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Sarah. Anybody
Thank you.
else? Okay, Tony, you come back up. Quickly, Tony, quickly.
One of the concerns with these manhole covers, and I understand that the city manager isn't really worried about people's basements getting raw sewage in them.
Tony, that's not the case.
Come on now.
That's not the case.
We're worried about a sewer plant right now.
Yeah, well, to bring that up, inflow and infiltration is a big problem with your plant. And I would think that fixing these holes in the manhole covers to stop some of this water, stormwater from flowing into your sewer and causing you problems would be one of the things on the top of your list, especially when these plugs only cost about $2 to $4 a piece.
So you're trying to tell me if I fix all these plugs, I don't have to worry about a sewer plant breaking down? Is that what we're talking about?
It will help because you'll cut off, if you have a flood, you're not going to have the water flowing through those holes and going straight to your sewer plant and causing an overload.
Actually, that's where you probably should become a wastewater operator, Tony, because actually stormwater dilutes our load. It does not overload a plant as far as a biological load. It hydraulically overloads.
The last meeting I was at, you said just the opposite.
No.
Yeah. I watched the meeting over and over again. You said just the opposite the last meeting. And I don't see how
Tony, this is over with.
Tony,
is going to help you.
Tony, you're out of order. That's enough.
Right
Thank
here.
you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Do we have any items from groups?
Well, that's it. We commissioners during the commissioners' comments actually put forward this proposal and vote on it and get it taken care of.
Moving on to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as printed.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Carlisle, second by Commissioner Harden to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Number 7, ordinance number 4501, authorizing Sunday and certain holiday sales of alcoholic liquor and cereal malt beverage.
I asked Mr. Tyler Prater if he would like to come back up, please. I understand the wishes of you and your father and your organization.
Our church.
Our church. I've been around alcoholism all my life. Okay. If you would sit down to Rubber Truck and watch the amount of traffic go south every Sunday. Okay. And trust me, they're drinking going down there. They're drinking coming back. Okay. Lives out on the highway mean a lot to us. I've known for years, shoot, I used to buy my beer down there. I'm not gonna hide that, and I just don't drink anymore, but I'm concerned about the people driving up and down the highway too, on their deaths. As far as talking to some liquor owners, half of them want it, another half don't because they want to stay shut down. But that's going to be their choice.
Is this an economic choice or is it a safety choice? Or is it an economic choice covered up by a safety choice?
I know. Go ahead.
Actually, we're looking at both. We're losing a lot of tax dollars. I understand all that. We're also looking at the fact of, you can go back and I can tell you how many accidents been on 83 highway. Back when I was 20-some years ago, my neighbor girl was killed and 2 of her friends by a drunk. Why? Because he was drunk going to go get him some more beer out on the highway. I mean, I understand where you're talking about 6 points, and I understand this, I really do. But we're trying to find a solution here tonight.
And the heart of the letter was not to argue. It wasn't, so that's not what I'm going to do. But really the heart behind the letter is an overall sense of morality, not just safety. That's a byproduct of a greater issue. And we feel like there's deeper issues in a decision like this than just the saving of a life. That's why that didn't fill the entirety of the letter written by our pastor. really overall thrust is that we want to try to preserve what morality there is, especially on the Lord's Day.
I know from my standpoint, I try to kind of base how I vote on any given topic on these based on how many people reach out to me in favor of it or opposed to it. And I haven't had really anybody reach out to me not in favor of it, which I was surprised by. I figured there'd be a lot more opposition to that would reach out to commissioners. From my standpoint of being...
So you're saying you make decisions based on what people tell you to do?
No, I make decisions based on people that choose to confide in me as they should as constituents. So, I mean, if you have
shouldn't a decision like this be a principle-driven decision, not a decision based on who comes and talks to you? Or
Tyler, we have 20,000 bosses.
I'm talking to Taylor.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and Tyler, okay, maybe I misworded that. The people that choose to confide in us as commissioners are our constituents. Our job is to represent their views when we're up here on the stand. As opposed to like when you see later in the meeting, I had a ton of people come to me and not in favor of the fireworks, even though I am personally in favor of that. So I try to, make sure that the people that are reaching out to me, especially when it's in mass numbers, I'm representing their views as a whole because they are the constituent base that we're supposed to be representing. On the alcohol, from my personal standpoint of being a constitutional conservative, I feel like this is a deregulating ordinance. So I'm kind of in favor of those in general because I tend to put the responsibility on the first party instead of on the government. What I don't like is living in a country that over-regulates us, that says you can't do this, all because a few people made a bad decision. What I do like is living in a country where they say, okay, this is available for anybody to do, but then they leave the responsibility on us as individuals to choose whether or not we participate. And so to me, it is definitely number one in my mind is an economic choice, because I would estimate from the numbers that I've seen from talking to liquor store owners on their Saturday sales that Sunday sales would be somewhat similar to those, slightly less, that we're talking about a 3 to 5% boost annual basis into the sales tax, which is a pretty incredible amount of money. On the flip side of it, I think you can tie safety into it because hopefully these people that are already drinking and driving will not leave town and hopefully will not traverse as far. I don't ever encourage to do that in the first place. But I weighed pretty heavily on this because I'm a Christian. I did a lot of praying on it. And the thing that I came down to for myself was I'm not going to buy liquor on Sundays because I don't buy liquor on Sundays anywhere where it's already legal. And so that's why I feel like, in my opinion on things like this, it should be something where the responsibility is on the first party to choose whether or not they participate instead of having a regulation in place that mandates that it's not available to anyone. Yeah. That's just my personal take on it.
Why don't you let the audience vote on it?
Let the audience vote on it?
And well, Taylor, I'm not picking on you. You have the strongest voice against it. Okay, so we're letting you.
No, I appreciate that. I didn't take that as that. We can agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
But what this does is it calls those with perhaps my view to take more action. Mm-hmm. If it requires a personal meeting with the commissioner, then that's what we need to do. And we need to bombard whoever we need to bombard with tactfulness and with respect.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And understanding where you stand and where we stand, but at the end of the day, we're going to go forward to make Liberal the best place it can be.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, we're on the same team. But this tells us, the Christian community per se, that maybe our voice should get a little bit louder, respectful.
Well, and just to throw this out there, what do we have on an ordinance like this? If it does pass tonight, there would be a 60-day time window in which, can you kind of walk the public through it? That way everybody knows how to go about that.
Sure, and it's included in the language in the proposed ordinance, which is in everybody's agenda packet, so you can read it specifically there. But you got 60 days to do a protest. And there's a certain percentage of voters you have to have pursuant to statute, and if that happens, then the effective date of 60 days after publication, it stays until that protest election is heard. And then everybody gets to decide, and whatever everybody decides is what happens.
Sure.
So I definitely would, if you're in opposition to it, would definitely encourage to go down that route. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I greatly appreciate the words of your father. I thought it was a very well-worded and moving speech.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it very much.
And anybody else that wants to speak, you do have an opportunity to. We would ask that you be respectful and polite and try not to get hateful and nasty about it. But if anybody else wants to share, now would be the time.
Charles, did you want to say something?
I want to vote against it.
Okay.
I don't know how many other people do or not. You want to raise your hand?
Anybody else have comments? Thank you.
Do any of us have comments?
I'd like to go ahead and say something. I really, to me, when I looked at this ordinance, I didn't see it as a morality issue. It is more of a safety and economic deal to me, because if you were going to ask me the question, am I going to vote on whether we're not going to allow the sale of alcohol in Liberal, period, then it's a different question. I don't consume alcohol, but I don't judge those that do. And I actually, for myself, have looked at this is how does it affect our community, and I'm here to represent the majority of our community. And whether I believe in the consumption of alcohol or not, I don't feel like this ordinance is a morale issue for me. It's more of a why we're doing it, because, like I say, if we were going to have the question in front of us of whether we were going to allow the sale of alcohol at all in our county, then we have a big issue to talk about, you know, and that's, and I might not be on the right side for some people on that, because I don't consume alcohol, but to me, this doesn't play into my religious beliefs. And I know that you feel that it does, but when I look at it, that's not how I feel it affects us.
Sure. And I want you to know it's not judgmental on we're not
Right.
judging
No, absolutely.
No, I understand that.
That's not where we want to be.
Right.
Absolutely.
And, you know, in reality, we're a mile from Oklahoma. Okay? They're going no matter what. Now, if we lived up Scott City or someplace like that where they just can't go a mile down the road and buy a couple cases and come on back, that would be a whole different story in our books. Okay? But this is a safety issue, the way I'm looking at it, and economic.
Well, I think another thing was the convenience stores brought up the fact that there was an old ordinance in there, and they come to find out they were violating it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's really what we were trying to straighten out too. Memorial Day ended up being a holiday that they couldn't sell on, and they always thought for 13 years I had a store manager said she did. So that was the main.
Help me out on this, but
4th of July was another one of their big sellers. And I think the Sunday deal got thrown in there somehow.
well, actually, our intent was start out with is let the grocery stores and the convenience stores sell the 3.2 beer.
3.2 cereal malt
Well,
beverage is different.
the state of Kansas had a different idea.
Yeah.
It's
It's all or none.
Yeah. And we're going to have to follow in a year from now, I think, anyway. So.
Do we have any more discussion? Or anybody else from the audience who wants to chime in?
Motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass ordinance number 4501, authorizing Sunday and certain holiday sales of alcoholic liquor and CMB.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Carlisle, second by Commissioner Martinez.
No.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Harden. To approve ordinance number 4501, authorizing Sunday and certain holiday sales of alcoholic liquor and CMB. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Abstain.
Okay, 4-0. Jack Carlisle abstains.
The reason I'm abstaining is I have a cousin that owns a liquor store, okay?
And Tyler, if you wouldn't mind hanging around.
Ordinance number 4502, Black Hills Franchise Agreement. Monique Pope and Dennis Rohrbach, would you like to come forward?
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Monique Pope with Black Hills Energy.
Dennis Rohrbach, Regional Manager, Southwest Kansas.
We appreciate the opportunity to provide the proposed franchise ordinance for review, and if there's any discussion or questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Does anybody have any questions for
I was wondering, how excited are your accountants of not figuring it the way that, I mean, are they real excited or kind of excited or?
Yes, they're definitely pleased with the new process.
Enough to donate us some more money or what?
The possible new process, right?
Well, I greatly appreciate you guys' hard work, and the presentations were excellent. And thank you for coming up with alternate solutions to the problem.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we, hold on, any discussion?
Well, we're good.
This is
Make a
going to give
motion.
our
Okay.
residents a little bit of a break too.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Absolutely. I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 4502 for the Black Hills franchise agreement.
I'll second
Okay, a
that.
motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Carlisle to approve ordinance number 4502, the Black Hills franchise agreement. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you both.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate all your trips to Liberal.
Yeah, thank you for your leadership as well.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Number 9, Resolution 2281, adopting the City of Liberal 2018 fee structure change.
On this resolution, what we are doing is adding in, you guys had approved the season passes. That's being added. And we are also adding the street fees. Chris may have a little bit more information on the streets on what you guys have questions on that, but we're just changing the amounts.
We're, on this one, we're actually updating our fees for street repairs that the street department does. And this is basically more in line to cover the cost that the city incurs compared to you can see on the one page what the current code says, or the fee structure, and then what our proposals are. And on the Brick Street repair, it's adding in a minimum repair charge. And then the others, we're just adjusting to the cost that we're currently paying. And then we're also adding a line on the end that if there's any cost for extra time or materials, those shall be charged to either the property owner or contractor beyond just the square footage, so that we're actually breaking even on the deal.
Can I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2281?
I'll make a motion we adopt resolution number 2281.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion?
I had a question, is the pool rental going up then, or no?
Just for Babe Ruth.
That's what I was going to say. I was getting ready to rent it here in like 2 weeks. I just want to know for a night. So, no, just kidding. I think it looked to me like it was the same, but.
The only thing that changed for the rec department, we added in the season passes,
Oh, okay.
and that's the only.
So that's the only thing on that part, yeah. So don't pay attention to Matt then, right?
No, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I thought it was free for the Baseball Association.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. The next item is Kansas Leadership Grant update.
Assault.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rick.
Matt, you're up.
You're up, okay.
That's probably why you were skipping it.
Yeah, I didn't want to hear Matt.
No, we don't want to skip Rona, though.
Okay.
All right, we're sorry we missed it.
Thank you for allowing us to come in here tonight, and just want to update you about the Arcaland assault that we just did on June the 9th. It was a great turnout. We had 180 participants this year from Southwest Kansas and around the Oklahoma Panhandle and all. We get our funding is coming through our registration fees, sponsors, and donations. In preparation of this event, Matt Quint did go out and build obstacles that week of it, got it all ready to go. And then we had Jim Betts, Jason Maxwell, Justin Alexander, they volunteered their time also to help build obstacles. Then when the county road and bridge helped us out by bringing their big tanker truck out full of water so we could fill our water pits up. And then also Fred Bloom had a trailer in the truck also. The morning of the event was a beautiful morning, and with the Arkaland Park setting out there, it was just for a beautiful run that morning. During the event, we had 58 volunteers that came out and helped, plus the Boy Scouts helped with the parking also. Of course, the course layout couldn't have been more perfect without the help of Gerald Mann, Debbie Giske, and the Arkaland Board. And of course, the Recreation Department really appreciates the help of the Arkaland staff. And special thanks goes to Squeaky Hill out there also. This is our second year to do the Elite Run, and it was won by Jim Ellison from Guyman with a time of 31:33, and Katie, his wife, won the female with a time of 40:46. And I thought, okay, this must be a really hard run this year, because last year our time was, the male was 23:57 and the female was 33:25. So when it got to the 30-minute mark, I thought, oh, this must be really tough out there. And of course, they all come in complaining. We had at one point where they had to shovel sand into a bucket and then carry it up that big hill. And that's the one they complained about.
Real quick, by the way, what was their names again?
Katie Ellison, and both of them from Guyman.
Perfect, thank you.
So anyway, and overall, all the comments was great. I had one gentleman from Pampa. He said he goes to the Spartan runs, the Warrior Dashes and all, and he said ours is right up there with them. So I was pretty proud with that. And then had another couple from Dodge City said that they travel around and do all these, and ours is the best in this area.
Awesome.
So that was great. Already have a sponsor for next year from Guyman, Guyman CrossFit. He goes, yeah, call me, I'll sponsor. So that's great. Your second page, as you can see, the participants, where everybody came from and how many came from each town. I just thought it was interesting to do that, so we know. So anyway, we really appreciate you guys' support, and thanks a lot for that. And at this time, we'd like Debbie to stand up here. The Arkaland Assault would like to give the Arkaland Park $1,500. Wow, thank you very much. Any questions this year?
Thank you guys so much for all the hard work you put in.
Okay, next year, June 8, 2019, I expect you all to be out there, at least volunteer, or if you don't want to run the course anyway.
Yeah, I know she didn't list the ages of the people that ran it.
No,
I don't want to do it, right?
Ronnie, make sure you schedule some baseball tournament again.
Yeah, we're busy then.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Appreciate it. Okay, now the next item is the Kansas Leadership Grant update.
Mayor, Commissioners, the City of Liberal has an opportunity to apply for a Leadership Transformation Grant through the Kansas Leadership Center, known as KLC. This grant is supported by the Kansas Health Foundation, which allows up to 1,500 scholarships each year to civically engaged organizations across the state of Kansas who aspire to build leadership capacity of individuals throughout their organization and community. There's 5 criteria to become grant eligible. First, they must be a Kansas-based organization. Second, have a limited budget for staff development. Third, show the ability to recruit 20 to 40 participants for the program. 4, have the support of senior authority to build the leadership capacity of individuals throughout the organization and the community. And 5, have an alumni base who has participated in the program before August of 2018. I will mention that I have personally attended the 3-day leadership training, and I have done that free of charge. And we have 4 additional staff members that will attend in August. It's to finalize our core team. And I will add that the Kansas Leadership Center is having them attend free of charge as well. Each of these leadership grants is valued up to $25,000 worth of leadership training and support. It covers registration fees for the core leadership in 2019, coaching sessions, and access to resources for the core team. The deadline for submitting this grant application is August 31st, 2018. So city staff would appreciate the commission's consideration to apply for the leadership grant through the Kansas Leadership Center.
We have a motion to apply with the Kansas Leadership.
I'll make a motion to apply for a grant with the Kansas Leadership Association.
I'll second that.
A motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Martinez to apply for the Kansas Leadership Center Association grant. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
We will keep you updated if we are awarded the grant, and if we will send 40 staff members up there.
Fantastic.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much. That's a great opportunity. Item 12, Mid-America Air Museum. Their hours and their admission fees. Sarah, you're up again.
I'm back. Okay, I am here to visit with you and hopefully get approval to change up our hours and admission a little bit. I've got some paper, I don't know what all you guys have, but I'll pass this.
Do we have anything, do we?
Yeah, we have that. We have this
Oh, you
page.
have- Okay, there's a second page.
Oh,
So.
there's 2 pages?
Yeah. There's a change.
Oh.
Count.
Oh, you got it.
So you- let me see.
Oh, there is? You didn't tell me.
That's free.
Okay, but
So
fine.
just.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
That will be me. Actually, I think I need one. I'll give you one when I'm done. Okay, so on the hours, as you know, we're fairly understaffed right now. So that's part of the reason for us looking at this. But in researching other museums, what I gave you is basically the other air and space museums in Kansas, plus the South Museum over in Montezuma. But I looked far and wide at other museums to compare. A lot of them are closed on Mondays. When we only have 2 full-time staff, this last weekend was the first weekend I've had off in months. So if we were able to close on Mondays, I think it would benefit not only our staff, but allow us to kind of
regroup,
come back and start fresh. And then in talking with Cal and some other city staff, it was questioned why we open at 8, and I said because that's the way it was when I got here. Typically, we don't have a large influx of visitors
early,
that early. Now, Saturday, they had somebody there waiting for them when they got there, but that's not normal. So we're looking at changing it from 8 to 5 to 9 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, and then leave Sunday 1 through 5. I will say we are a little concerned about June and July because we have our robotics camps those months, and those are Monday through Friday. So I don't know if maybe we want to just do winter hours and then June and July have the closed Monday. I'm not sure what the best route is for that. I know Dorothy's House does, I think, Memorial Day to Labor Day. They kind of have different hours where they're open on Mondays in the summer and then closed on Mondays in the winter.
Could we possibly just have the different hours during the robotics time of the year and then the rest of the year uniformly has the modified hours?
I think that would be fine.
Okay. Is Monday the slowest day of the week for you guys attendance?
Yes.
Okay.
I say that, but the last 2 Mondays we've been very busy, and I'm like, oh, this is just proving my point. But in the winter especially, yes, Mondays are it doesn't make sense to have a full staff there on those days because it's just not economical.
Absolutely.
And then, do I need to go on to the other? Or
We have an A and a B.
So stop?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the proposed hours?
I'll make a motion to approve the modified hours for the Mid-America Air Museum.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Carlisle to approve the modified hours for the Air Museum. Any further discussion?
I have one question. So you're approving that except for June and July?
Yes, so June and July, normal operating hours while we have robotics, rest of the year, close Monday, and the different hours on Saturday.
How about, I was just sitting there, was looking at that on the, because in the summer you're saying it's busier still on Monday too.
Mm-hmm.
Is it busy on Monday morning though, or should Monday be 1 to 5?
Well, we have robotics
Good
camps
question.
in the morning and the afternoon, so we have to be there anyway.
Okay.
Yep.
We have each week that we have 5 weeks of camps, and all of them but one, we have
Morning and afternoon.
2 sessions
Yeah.
per week, so
Okay.
morning and afternoon.
Okay.
Let them modify it when they
Yeah.
need to.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, go on with
Fabulous.
your next part.
On the admission, I understand the premise between of why we currently have our prices the way we do. We have a separate set of prices for local residents than we do for non-residents. However, it is extremely awkward and offensive to some when local residents come in with visitors from out of town and the local resident pays $2 and the out-of-town person has to pay $7. We've had people leave offended by it. We had a lot, or they're behind someone that's paying the local resident and they're like, well, they just paid $2. I'm like, so I understand that. However, we do, every quarter, we have at least 4 free events, free admission. We have our Lunch and Learn, where they can come to the Lunch and Learn and go through the museum. We have, let me find my sheet here. Let's see, with Lunch and Learn, we have an open cockpit every quarter. We have a gallery opening every quarter, a new exhibit in that gallery space, and a movie night every quarter. And all of those, they're able to go through the museum if they would like for free. So there are at least 12 opportunities a year for local residents to come through the museum free of charge. And we have at least another handful of events every year. Like this year, we had a car show, it was free admission. The years that there's an airfare, it's free admission during those 2 days of the airfare, or 1 day, whatever it ends up being. The robotics tournament, we had 700 people there this year, between teams and people just coming to watch and go through the museum. It's all free that day too. So there's plenty of opportunities for local people to come in free of charge. I just would like my staff to not cringe. The other thing is that when people come in, we have to say, people come in, how much is the entrance fee? Well, where are you from? It's just awkward.
I think we
It's a
ought to,
tax-based, supported deal
right.
too for local residents.
And I understand, I do understand that.
if things work out right, we won't be controlling the Air Museum. So, right now I can go ahead and make a motion to approve the new admission prices.
Well, we do have a discrepancy.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
In what's passed out, what's in your agenda says active military and veterans are free.
I like that better.
I do too. I mean, the majority of a lot of our museum is military artifacts, and we wouldn't have them had it not been for our military and our veterans.
Yep.
And the thing is, by letting them in free, I know a lot of veterans will go ahead and in turn donate some of their collection.
And currently, we have we don't even have a discount for active military or veteran.
I would just say.
We've been giving them, some of us have been giving them the senior discount.
Yeah, but that's what
Because
in
we
my,
didn't feel it was right.
And I mean.
that's in my packet.
Yeah, like what's in the in our packet,
Yes,
not on
yes.
this piece of paper.
Yeah. And I mean, most of us vets can pull out an ID card that says we're a vet.
We have people that come in fully uniformed. We had one come in in uniform with his service dog just a week ago. So.
Sweet.
I would love
And
to
he
be
was
able
from
to
in
do
town or
that.
out of town?
Huh?
In town or out of town?
I actually didn't bring him up, so I don't know.
All right, good.
I
Okay.
saw him out after that point.
Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
Okay,
And that's with what's in our package?
Yes.
Free.
We're free for the veterans, children 5 and under.
What's in our packet?
we have a motion to approve the proposed admission prices with the veterans being free. Any discussion?
I have one question. So if you approve this, I'm sorry, if you approve this, when will it be effective?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ron, did you make the motion?
Ron?
No, I made the
I
motion.
made the motion.
And I second.
Jack and Taylor.
And Taylor seconded, and then we had discussion. So is there any further discussion?
No.
All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you so much. We greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for your hard work, Sarah.
Next item is number 13, Police Department, purchase of duty rifles and accessories.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Dennis Molinax. I'm your Chief of Police. Since I've been Chief, I've come to you repeatedly asking for permission to move forward on some expenditures, and those have all been approved, and tonight I come with another request for some expenditures that have been thought out very cautiously and prudently. So the first item that I have tonight, seeking your request, is the purchase of 10 rifles for the police department. We currently have 30 patrol rifles that are assigned to each officer. These rifles are approximately 15 years old. We've been experiencing some mechanical problems with these rifles for several years now, but it's getting to the point where it's a serious safety concern. For example, a lot of the barrels in the rifles are beginning to develop some hairline cracks and so forth, and that's simply not safe. What we want to do tonight, with your permission, is trade in those 30 rifles, and we've been given a trade-in cost of $6,750, and with that money, we would like to ask for permission to get or spend $6,712.30 from our firearms budget. With that, we will be purchasing those rifles, and along with this purchase, what we are currently redoing is our assignment of these rifles. As of now, they're assigned to each officer, but what we've done is an assessment, and we've determined that it would be wiser if we assign a rifle to each response vehicle. So we're basically cutting our number of rifles in half. So we're asking for permission to purchase 10 rifles tonight at the cost given. And in the future, what we'd like to do, since we've got 15 response vehicles, in the future, next year or so, we'd like to come again and spend money on 5 more rifles, and we want to use the money that we've obtained from the sale of seized vehicles. So that's our current plan with our patrol rifles at this time. So again, that's my first request of the evening.
Make a motion, we approve the purchase of 10 rifles from Whitham Weaponry for the amount of $6,712.30.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Carlisle, second by Commissioner Harden to purchase 10 rifles from Wyndham Weaponry for the amount of $6,712.30. Any discussion? All in favor?
I just got a question for Dennis.
Sorry.
Is the ammunition the same caliber? Or how we?
Yes, with me tonight, I'm glad you're asking questions. This is great. With me tonight is my firearms instructor, Jeff Wade. These are the AR-15 rifles, and we are sticking with the 223 red. Yes.
Okay. Just a question.
Yes, so we're using the same ammo carried over. Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
My next request is a series of requests with our current canine policy or program that we're wanting to expand upon. With me tonight is Officer Brian Floor. I've hired Brian. He's a past canine officer, so if we have questions tonight, Brian can help us answer those questions. He's done a great amount of research on the request that I'm about to make to you tonight, so I really appreciate that. And with him also is Lieutenant Chris Head. He's a past K-9 officer with the department, so he's got plenty of experience. So with these requests, should there be any questions, these two are available to answer such questions. My first request tonight is for the purchase of another K-9 unit, the dog, so to say. We've done research with various organizations throughout the country, and we've made our choice, and with that is the request to spend $9,000 for a K-9 dog out of our crime prevention, drugs, and alcohol portion of our 1 cent sales tax. This money's been already approved and set aside, so we're going to be utilizing that budget for true K-9 or for true crime prevention. The public will be able to see this purchase here, so that's one thing I'm very excited about. The dog itself is $9,000. We're also requesting travel expenses for 2 Liberal police officers. That includes fuel, hotel, meals, and associated travel, with members of the Kansas Highway Patrol that will be coming with us to give their expertise in choosing this K-9 unit. What we're going to do is we're going to shift our current K-9 program back under the guidance and training of the Kansas Highway Patrol. This is cost effective, it's training effective, and it makes sense from all of the questions and angles that we've looked at our program with. So that's the direction we feel that we need to move our department forward with. This K-9 request is in addition to the K-9 dog that we already have. So if approved, the City of Liberal will have 2 K-9 units to operate with.
Let's talk about the K-9 dog.
Okay.
Had a meeting with Lieutenant Head and Chief Mullinex yesterday. It's my understanding that the dog that Officer Breeden is pulling has arthritis. Is that correct? Yeah. And will not last very long in the mix. Need to help me out here, but I think we need to go ahead and authorize 2 dogs to be bought tonight. Okay?
Have you found out any more about, is that dog covered?
It's from the records that we haven't started the warranty process, but there is a warranty with that K-9 that we currently have. It was just last week that we took the animal to the veterinarian, had it x-rayed, and the vet did tell us that there is arthritis with this current K-9 dog. The dog is only, I believe, almost 3 years old. It had some hip issues earlier, and we believe that contributed to this arthritis that's setting in. At this time, we think I just don't have any current concrete answers on the current dog yet. We do believe possibly that it may be manageable with medication and so forth, but already at this age it's got arthritis. So we're checking with the warranty to see if that's going to fix that problem right there.
Can we get our money back instead of a dog?
The warranty covers genetic issues. Right now, we know that at one point it broke its ankle on one of its paws. The arthritis is in that ankle. The way it grew back, it didn't grow back properly. I'm not going to say he's gimped, but he is having some issues. But according to the K-9 and the vet, or the K-9 handler and the vet, the dog should be okay. I asked about the hips, and they said that they're not terrible at this point, but it is a German Shepherd. German Shepherds are prone to hip issues.
Dysplasia.
But as of now, it doesn't look like the dog's going to be covered under the warranty, because it doesn't appear to be a genetic issue.
We haven't confirmed, or we haven't made any progress yet with the warranty yet. We will be checking that out to verify it and so, but
what is the age of the dogs when you get them, and what's their use expectation life?
It depends on the dog. This dog we got was about 1.5 years, almost 2 years old, and if the dogs have a good drive and good traits, they can last until they're 10 or 11 years old. Some of the dogs will start losing interest. It's just like a person. They'll start losing interest in what they're doing and not want to work anymore. So then they have to be retired earlier. But some dogs, they love what they do and they will continue to do it until they absolutely can't walk anymore.
This dog's already favoring its leg and...
On the warranty stipulation, what are we talking about time-wise? Like how many years, does it come with a lifetime warranty from the company we get it from?
It's a 1-year warranty, if I'm not mistaken. So we're right on the verge of...
Yeah, but with the broken...
We're about a month away from being within our, expiring on our 1-year warranty. So
If we were able to successfully complete the warranty process and they accepted everything, would they just give us a new dog?
I believe so. It would probably be a trade out for another dog. Yeah, I don't think they're going to give us our money back. It'd be another dog.
Yeah, so maybe...
With the broken ankle, what do you think the odds of that's going to be?
When did the ankle break? Do we know? Did we buy it that way?
I don't know. The vet's supposed to call me back, but according to his assistant, they couldn't tell when it was broken. The officer Breeden, who has the dogs, never mentioned it, hurting it in any way, so it may have been broken before we got it.
So where was that dog bought from? Not.
Yeah.
It was bought in Johnson K9 in Colorado Springs.
So perhaps maybe what we ought to do is go ahead and just get the one dog, but then aggressively pursue the warranty on the other, just in case.
Well, here's the problem. You need to send this dog to Topeka to be trained. 1st September, if I'm correct?
September, yes.
But you got to go over to where we're buying this one dog. So your
that'll leave us
timeline...
with a gap where we have no dog for a couple of weeks if we get the one warrantied out and have to send them both up to training.
Right.
It could be up to 10 to 14 weeks from now.
Yep, so...
Well, I can see Chris over there doodling. Do you have the money?
Well,
The rest of it.
although this purchase, it would be from the sales tax. I know that we currently don't have anything in there to purchase a dog. However, the funds would exist in the sales tax to enable us to do so, should the commission choose. Now, the second dog, that's depends on how far you want to go, because I see there's a succession of expenses.
Well, we already have a vehicle. So the only thing we're looking...
No, there's a vehicle in this.
Well, yeah, that's for the second dog. But we already have a vehicle for the first dog.
And that was going to be my question, is if we did pursue a second dog, would we be able to use one of our current vehicles to be able to...
We do have a current vehicle, but with the request to go ahead and purchase 2 dogs, I would like to think long-term here and go ahead and purchase another vehicle. The current vehicle that we have is a Crown Vic. They don't make these vehicles anymore. This vehicle is becoming problematic. It's getting mild out. These engines run for extended periods of time to keep the air conditioning going, to keep the animal cool and so forth. So this current canine vehicle that we do have is getting to the point where more sooner than later, we're going to have to replace it.
Can we discuss this in about another 4 months?
Sure.
Because you're looking at June, July and August, go to school for what, September, for 10 weeks?
We're kind of in a predicament here totally with the canine school that we're wanting to go to with the Kansas Highway Patrol. If we're going to get 2 dogs and get all this associated equipment and training, we want to act on it this year, of course, so a few months down the road.
You don't go until October, right?
Right.
Okay.
The next
We've got some time.
school would be, I believe it's next year sometime, so we can proceed with
when are you going to go get the dog?
As soon as possible. We'd have to get the dog, it's best to have the dog before he goes to the training so he'll have time to bond with the dog. It's not going to be a good idea to get the dog at the same time he's going to training, and then he's going to have to fight with it, and the dog has to know that he's the boss. So it's best to have that bond before they go to the training in order for it to be a successful beginning to the training process.
I guess one question I would have for you, Chief, and for both of you officers is, you came up tonight only asking for 1 canine purchase, knowing the other dog had an ankle problem and arthritis. So
this came up last week.
This came after the fact.
Okay, so in your opinion, all 3 of you, do you believe that we should go ahead and it would be the best foot forward to go ahead and get 2 dogs? And then, if we don't get money back on the warranty for the one that's hurt right now, then we're gonna have 3 dogs? Because if we go through with the warranty, are we just gonna keep the hay burner and then commission the 2 new ones in and let her out of the program? I guess would be my question, like.
It's how you look at it, glass half empty, glass half full, and I like to think the glass is half full.
Always.
So we could potentially end up with 3 dogs, and to me, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna turn down more equipment and the opportunity to have us advance as a department.
I think we need to address 1 dog based on the finances that Chris has talked about and see how the warranty
See how
turns
the other
out on
one
the second
turns out.
dog, and then we can address that.
Great.
Well, and just to clarify, I think the dogs are fine. I guess what I'm looking at is trying to think of a way how to come up with a second vehicle for the request. You know, 'cause that's the.
Well, I'm concerned about the second dog because we're already paying the highway patrol to go with us. I mean, we're already renting our motel rooms and everything else like this. Okay.
So you're thinking about consolidating all the costs into one?
Into one, because if we come back in 2 months later and say, well, we got to do this program all over again, we're going to have to pay the highway patrol, go back up again, motel rooms, eats and all that, when we can do all this one time.
That's the $850 part of it though, right?
Yeah, that's
Not
what
the,
it is.
not the $29,000 part of it?
No.
Well, maybe, I see Larry back, maybe Foss would just donate that vehicle, you think?
Yeah.
I can't hear.
So, I was gonna, just asking Connie, I mean, the K9, it says in here dual purpose, so is that like explosives and drugs, or is that what that means?
It's a bite dog for felony arrests.
Felony, okay, I didn't know what that meant.
Dangerous felony arrests.
But do they do drugs, or?
I'm sorry?
They do.
Yeah, multi-purpose.
Okay, so
Yes.
which is really, I mean, but do we consider this as something that, I don't know what's in the 1 cent sales tax for crime prevention, if all that money's allotted, I don't really follow that, but is that something that you feel like falls under crime prevention?
I think the drug dog does, yes.
Yes, I do.
But I don't know that 2 drug dogs
Right.
do right now.
Yeah.
I think that's a little excessive right now.
Yeah, I think after budget time, it'll be a lot easier decision to
Yes,
make. Yeah. I'll make a motion. Now, we're going to break up A, B, C, D, and E.
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the new K9 purchase for the Liberal Police Department.
Total not to exceed $9,850.
Not to exceed $9,800.
That actually includes B too then, right?
No.
The $9,850, because the
No.
accessories and training.
That's
okay.
for the dog and travel to go get the dog.
That's just the,
This is the purchase of it.
Should put them together then?
no, we're going to do them separately. We're going to do it individually. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Harden. Did somebody second that? Thank you, Tony. Tony second. To purchase a K9 not to exceed $9,850. Any discussion? All in favor?
You know, I do want to discuss. This town has a major drug problem. Major. And we're sitting here today going, we don't give a shit.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No, we're not.
We're not.
No, we're
It's
not.
affected every member of this community.
We're still doubling the amount of K9 units we have. This department under Mullinex's leadership has had several large drug busts this year. Things are moving in a positive direction, but to me, this is a budget issue. We have to wait till after we know what the numbers are for next year.
We're not saying no right now.
Okay, we're going to vote. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Continue, please.
Thank you. The next request is for accessories and training. The total amount for the K9 equipment from Ray Allen Manufacturing that we are requesting tonight is for another $850, but the training associated with this equipment and the dog is $7,242. So tonight I'm asking for $7,242 for K9 accessories and the actual training that goes towards the K9 unit to be a dual purpose dog.
I'll make the motion that we approve the accessories and training for a dual purpose dog in the amount of $7,242.
Not to exceed
Or not to exceed
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Motion. Okay, motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner Warren to approve accessories and training not to exceed canine accessories and training not to exceed $7,242. Now, is there any discussion?
Yes, there is. I apologize for the interruption. All of these, I just want to make sure, so A, B, C, D, and E, all of them are coming out of crimes
Yes.
prevention 1 cent sales tax?
Yes, sir. Crime prevention, drugs, and alcohol portion of the 1 cent sales tax.
Perfect.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Now we're ready for C.
Okay, great. Again, with the crime prevention, drug, and alcohol portion of the 1 cent sales tax, I'm asking for the purchase of a vehicle for the canine unit. This is going to be a Ford Explorer, and today I went ahead and went down to Foss Ford and spec'd one out. It's a Ford Explorer, the same type of vehicle that we're currently using. The purchase of this vehicle and all of the associated equipment, including a radar, mobile vehicle recorder, parts to mount the equipment, electrical equipment, and so forth, is not to exceed $46,904.
Okay.
Does this vehicle come pre-wired?
I'm not sure. I believe so.
I'm not going to answer that. They
Okay.
figured it out. It should. Most of them today are pre-wired.
It's the same specs as we had earlier in the year, so.
We actually had 3 vehicles for.
Yeah, we bought 2 vehicles earlier this year for the
You knocked down one.
Yeah, we knocked down 2 vehicles. We were approved by, I believe, 4 vehicles, but I knocked that down to 2 earlier in the year, so.
Awesome. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a new canine vehicle from Foss Ford, not to exceed $46,904.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Martinez to purchase from Foss Ford a Ford Explorer Police Interceptor for the canine dog, not to exceed $46,904. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. That was the most expensive purchase request I have tonight, so we're on that downhill slide here tonight. So,
Oh, there's more.
Yes. This is high dollar stuff here. I appreciate your cooperation. With the vehicle, we need to identify it. We've gotten with our company here in town, Genesis Graphics, that we currently use to put markings on our police vehicles. Our canine unit needs to have distinct wrapping on it to identify it as a canine unit. So we've gotten a bid from them for $1,000 to put a vehicle wrap for the Liberal Police Department, distinguishing it as a canine unit. So tonight I come to you with a request to spend another $1,000 out of the crime prevention, drugs, and alcohol portion of the 1 cent sales tax for vehicle graphics at a cost of $1,000.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a vehicle wrap for the new Ford Explorer from Genesis Graphics, not to exceed $1,000.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Martinez to purchase a wrap for the canine vehicle from Genesis Graphic for the in the amount of not to exceed $1,000. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. And the total dollars that are involved in A, B, C, and D are $64,996. Just wanted you to know. Okay, the next item is E, training for current canine handler.
Yes, as I said earlier, we're wanting to transition the current canine that we do have from the previous training that we have and move everything over to the Kansas Highway Patrol. For training and contact and integrity purposes, we're wanting to put the new dog that we've been given permission to buy tonight, as well as the current dog that we have, and basically get it retrained. So the cost of that is going to come out of the same budget requests as before, the 1 cent sales tax for drugs and alcohol. But to get the training for our current dog, that's going to be at a cost of $2,831. By having our canine program under one organization and so forth, that'll add to the integrity of our program as a whole and unify it and standardize it and so forth. So tonight I asked for $2,831 to be used to retrain the current dog that we have, along with the dilemma that we have right now with the warranty of our dog.
Can I have a motion to? for the training of the current K-9.
I'll make a motion to approve the training for the current K-9 handler in the amount not to exceed $2,831.
Can I second?
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Harden, second by Commissioner Martinez to approve the training for the current K-9 handler in the amount of $2,831. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, the next item is the LEAPS discussion.
I'll start it. When we signed up for the LEAPS program, we had 19 people apply. Okay. Going through those applications one by one, most of them were from, I'd say 99% of them was from real small communities, 3 to 5, 6 to 8,000 people all. And you can see that they were jumping, okay? And trying to move up. Don't feel that they would be here a year, 6 months, that they're already looking for another job to a bigger town. The problems that Liberal has now, and we know what we have now, I'm not interested in continuing with the LEAPS program. Therefore, I make a motion that we cease the LEAPS program effective immediately. Isn't that about right?
You can make that motion, yep.
Yes.
I'm making that motion, okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Carlisle, second by Commissioner Martinez that we cease the LEAPS program. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 4
Yeah, I'll be opposed.
opposed.
Yeah.
4 in favor, 1 opposed. Motion carries. We will cease the LEAPS program.
Make a motion to approve Calvin Burke as the new city manager.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Carlisle, second by Commissioner Martinez to approve Calvin Burke as a new city manager. Any discussion?
I just want to say something I didn't say it on the last deal is I wasn't around when you guys started the LEAPS deal or whatever, going out and doing the search. I felt, of course, a lot of people, I guess, knew how I felt about what was going on in our community, in our management structure. I just wanted to say it because I would have been opposed to starting a search while we had such a mess to take care of, that I think it's something that we're going to have to do someday. But I feel like we need to clean up some of our own mess before we put it on somebody else's lap or somebody else's plate.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just didn't really see any candidates that stuck out that were qualified as much for helping us with sewer and water, knowing our town. So.
Just to clarify, so if this vote passes for Calvin tonight, will his pay grade and everything about his contract stay exactly the same as what it is now under interim, or will it be reevaluated?
It would need to be reevaluated.
Evaluated. And I think he can bring that to the next commission meeting.
The way I would treat it is you guys move to appoint him tonight pending, a written contract that's agreed by the commission, reviewed by the commission, and approved by the commission and Mr. Burke.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Welcome aboard.
Well, thank you, I think. But the one request I would have was that you get with Lynn on the numbers and stuff and what you want in the contract. I don't want any part of writing my own contract other than The only thing I would like to have in my contract would be that upon my separation, whether it's voluntary or involuntary, any sick leave that I may have would be automatically transferred to the catastrophic leave bank for the benefit of other city employees that should have a disaster later on in life.
That is awesome.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
Thank you, Calvin.
Thank you,
If
Cal.
we can discuss our wage, you know, start out at $5.
This is
I might want to
7:45.
sell my sick leave now.
Okay, we need to move on. The next item is fireworks discussion.
Looking at the ordinance that Lynn had given us, I want to make a motion to approve ordinance 4503. Has any of the public seen this ordinance?
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Anybody want to come look at this?
I think maybe that we ought to, we can have it. We're going to have to put it in the paper anyway, right?
Yeah, correct. Tomorrow.
Is there any discussion on this?
Yeah, I'd like,
The fire chief, I believe, would
Yes,
like
I-
to speak up.
I would like to hear from Kelly.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity, and please hear me through on this. It's a complicated thing for me. From my position as the fire chief here for the city of Liberal, for a city of 20,000 people, I think that most fireworks do not belong inside our city limits. Even if you read from manufacturers of fireworks, they want them done under adult supervision in an open area. And I say most because I don't think anything, you shoot something in the air here in southwest Kansas, you don't know where it's going to come down. And fireworks are not the greatest manufactured things. There's not a great amount of quality control in that, and we see short bursts all the time or misfires or things like that. So when something goes up in the air, that's what I'm saying to you, that doesn't really belong in a populated area with residences and commercial buildings and the like. And I talked to Chief Barkley, the rural fire chief, and we stand together on this. We're both in agreement. In the county, he deals with a completely different animal than what we deal with here. If a fire starts in open range, whether it's grassland, whether it's cropland, and spreads, it may threaten a handful of homes. Here in the city, it threatens somebody's house and maybe somebody's life. And I'll explain to you why. The Liberal Fire Department, the way that we're staffed and equipped with our stations and our firefighting personnel is that we're designed for a deployment model based on the premise that fires will be a rare occurrence. And I'd like to say we're pretty good at it. And that shows in our ISO rating of 3 for our city. And because of that ISO rating of 3, our citizens in this community enjoy a relatively low fire and casualty insurance rate on their home. Now, that's based on that premise that fire is a rare occurrence. Now, when a natural or a man-made event changes that model, which fireworks do, and increases the likelihood of more than one fire happening at a time, possibly multiple fires happening at one time, that has a great likelihood to overwhelm our resources. When I turn out, C shifts here today, that's 6 guys. That gets the 3 trucks to the scene and 3 other guys to work, and I rely on the loyalty and dedication of my other 15 and my 7 volunteers to come back and fight that fire, and that's what the citizens of this community are expecting. But that could overwhelm us. When we have a second structure fire, our first call is going to be Seward County Fire Department, probably Turpin Fire, maybe Tyrone Fire. And then after that, help's 45 miles away. It's a long way for us. So multiple fires in this community, even small room and contents residential fires, have significant potential to overload our resources. And now, kind of the heartfelt personal part of it. Every time we have a fire in this community, and I didn't realize this when I was a firefighter, probably didn't realize it when I was a shift captain, but as a fire chief I do now. I just brought a bunch of guys up here and put them in front of you tonight. Those are husbands, those are fathers, and those are sons. And every time we have a fire in a house in this community, my job is to go in and if somebody's in danger, we're going to try to rescue them. We don't risk anything to save property. But when people are involved, when people are in the homes, that's when things are in danger. And when I have to send these guys in to fight this fire, just Monday night, Sunday night, we had lightning strike a home, and Tyson, bless his heart, basically his first command at a fire, he sends crews in, fire's in the attic, and the roof starts collapsing in on top of those guys, and he has to pull them back out of there, get it back under control, and go back in and get it again. And we did this just to save nothing, basically. They're going to tear that thing down and haul it off. But it just frightens the heck out of me to have to put these guys' lives in danger when it's unnecessary. It doesn't have to happen. So I know there are a lot of folks in Liberal that would like to legalize fireworks. In my position, I talk to people about it all the time, and since this has come up, I've talked to a lot of people. I can almost show you probably just as many who don't want them in their city, and they don't want them for very specific reasons. They got to work the next day. They don't want people popping fireworks till 1 o'clock in the morning. Let me give you an example of most likely incidents of a fire in town from fireworks is that somebody shoots it off in their yard and it lands on someone else's property. I'd like to use the example of my 90-year-old grandmother for you, and this happened back in the 90s. Somebody shoots it off, she goes to bed pretty early. If it lands on her wood deck on her house, that fire is going to start outside her house. She'll be asleep in her bedroom. Smoke detectors in her house aren't going to help her one bit until that fire has progressed to a point that it's going to break through a window and come into her house, and that's when she's going to be in real danger. And it takes her 2 or 3 minutes to get out of that house under the best of conditions. She probably won't stand a chance. Back in the 90s, we were engaged in a fire out by 4U Mobile Home Park that started in Oklahoma with legal fireworks, and due to 40-mile-an-hour winds, blew its way all the way up into Kansas, jumped the railroad tracks, and was threatening 4U Mobile Home Park. And at that same time, Skeety remembers, he was here, we got called to a fire right over here on 5th Street, a trailer house right next to the old Red Cross trailer house. And that fire was exactly the fire I just explained to you. Kids riding down the street on a bike, one of them with a Roman candle shooting it, lit a lady's deck on fire. And just like I mentioned, it broke through the living room windows and got into her house, and we put that fire out. The house still standing, the deck's burned off of it. The thing that she was the most inconsolable about was right inside that home, there was a shadow box on the wall that had all of her husband's war medals in it. It's gone. Never, ever, ever to be replaced. So that's the emotional part of it for me. And the reason I ask you to hear me out is, I know there are a lot of people that want that, but I just want you guys to hear my concern, just like Tyler Prater wanted you to hear concerns. So fire department staffing and apparatus, it really stresses our system. And oftentimes we're short-staffed in the summer because of vacations. That's when people go to baseball tournaments and they're out of town for vacations. It also stresses our mutual aid partners, the Seward County Fire Department, the Tyrone Fire Department, Turpin Fire Department. They're probably busy with their own incidents on that day too. So those are all important things. A lot of times I hear, and I've heard it every year, hey, we had some rain this year, can we have fireworks? Recent rains are great for the grass and they'll green up the fields, but they will not keep a building from burning if firework lands on top of it. We burned a house down Sunday night in a torrential driving rainstorm. Didn't make one difference on that fire. Safety of our citizens and our firefighters, like I've already told you, and the most at risk in our community are the elderly, mobility impaired, and the children. And that's to the risk of fire, and that's where I'm talking to you from right now. Not to mention pets who are left at home alone. You know, they got nowhere to go. They're a captive audience in that house. They can't get out. And then the potential risk of additional burns and injuries, and those are going to happen whether we let people take them out of town and pop them or anything like that. But it's just increased injury. And I've spent 27 years of my life in the business of planning for the worst and hoping for the best. So that's what I'm telling you guys tonight. I just don't think fireworks have any place in our city. Something I didn't even think of until I talked to someone today who's involved with the Angels for Animals group. I didn't realize that there's statistics that prove that the 4th of July is the one day that more family pets and animals disappear and run away just because of the noise going around. My daughter got married a couple of years ago to a veteran who's been downrange, deployed to Iraq twice. Fort Riley, call up there and ask them what they do on the 4th of July. They go dark. Those veterans are traumatized by what they've seen and heard. It's just the simple sound of fireworks popping in the air can set them off. That's a real thing to them. It may not be to me and it may not be to a lot of people, but that's a very, very real thing to them. We need to consider that. Every year after the 4th of July, drive around our town and you'll see where people went out in the streets and set their fireworks off, and the remnants, the debris doesn't get cleaned up. We may have a rainstorm on it afterwards. The cardboard decomposes and people drive up and down the street, and pretty soon, instead of right in front of one house, it's spread up and down the whole block. Somebody's got to go clean that stuff up. So those are just the intangible things that I'm thinking about here as I think about this ordinance and why we don't want to allow them in our city. Tensions between neighbors. Maybe there's a neighbor who doesn't want the fireworks, but the neighbor next door does want them. And he's out popping the street till 1 o'clock, and they go out and confront him. Is that a law enforcement issue, Dennis?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Our police department just gets run ragged. We don't have the manpower at the fire department to go out and enforce this. We tried. It's like the little boy sticking his finger in the dike. We tried to go out, Skeety remembers, we'd get in our green pickup and drive around, we'd go seize a pickup load of fireworks, and then you sit at the station and watch thousands of them going off across town all night long. We don't have the manpower to enforce, and I bet Dennis would back me up on that. It's a huge stress on his department as well. So I tell you all that, those are my concerns, and that's why I don't want to see you guys pass this, and I don't want to see fireworks in our city limits. But then I also know that what we're doing now is not working. I'm on the BJ's board of directors, and I sat out there at the ball field, and I got a pretty good vantage point to look back across the city, and I get to watch this tremendous fireworks show all night long, and then I turn around and watch the public display that we spend $15,000 on after that. So I know what we're doing is not working right now. What I'm asking you guys is, let's don't jump into anything. Last week when the county considered this at their meeting, Commissioner Lindenbroker came up, pulled a bunch of firefighters in, and we talked, and I didn't get to talk to her. I was down doing job interviews, or interviews for full-time firefighters. But our representative, Reagan Dreitz, he went over and with the county fire chief, they were the same thing. The county made no motion on that. And of course, the county resolution was passed in 1980, and it leaves the city of Liberal and the city of Kismet to their own devices. Kismet has always allowed it, and probably it could work. But you're talking 500 people in about 3 square miles. In Liberal, Kansas, we're talking 20,000 people in 12.5 square miles. We're packed in pretty tight. So a lot of potential for disaster. And we've tried other things, and I don't have the solution for you standing here before you tonight. But what I'm asking for you to do is to not jump into any rash decisions. Let's not go into this feet first. Like Commissioner Lindenbroker last week said, let's start some discussions on this. And I do have some ideas, and I think this resolution, I didn't see this resolution until late today, for this ordinance. But I think it has some of the things that I would want in there. First of all, I want to see some pretty high permit fees. If somebody wants to put a fireworks stand in, I'd like to see them pay about a $2,000 permit fee to put that fireworks stand in.
Actually, the reason we're not doing the sale of fireworks in Liberal right now is to give it time to work up people that are selling down south.
Right.
They want to see a $2,500 to $3,000 fee, okay, and willing to pay that.
It may sound crazy, but I don't disagree with you on that. I think they should have to pay that. I can explain.
No, they want it. They want to pay that.
Exactly. They want to pay that, and they'll still make money.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
But they're wanting to make sure that it's not done in residential areas. They want to make sure it's not done in a retail area, because you don't want some restaurant sitting there trying to sell firecrackers, and next thing you know, it blows up half a block.
Exactly. So it needs to be an appropriate standard. There are state laws regulating what an appropriate standard. There's state laws regulating the inspections and the checklist. But I'd like to see that permit fee, and that permit fee could eventually, some of it could possibly go back into the general fund for the benefit of us all.
Well, right now on this one right here, there is no sale.
There's no sale.
No sale at all.
But let me explain to you why I think we probably could consider sale in Liberal. First of all, you give the permit, and that tells you where the stand is. So then our fire marshal could go out and inspect it, and we can see what's in there. And we can tell them, hey, no bottle rockets, no mortars, no aerial devices that go too high in the air, none of these boxes that shoot 500 shots in the air in a span of about 35, 40 seconds. So we collect that fee, we get to go out and control what's in those stands, and then we implement a you buy it here, you shoot it here sort of thing. That way we know what they bought, and we know they're not getting anything that goes up in the air. that gives us the opportunity to, if we see something going 300 feet in the air, that police officers can go get them, and then we got to find them, and then we got to uphold it, and we got to stick to it. We got to make it happen. So
The problem with the police officers going and getting them, I'm going to fire something up 300 feet, okay, I'm already gone. I'm on the south end of town, firing me another one by the time that officer gets to that location.
Is that you that's been doing that?
Yeah, at least we know he's doing it.
At least we know now. But, you know, I go back to what I said at the first. Most fireworks don't belong in the city, but, you know, it's almost silly to me to say that, but then why couldn't kids? And I did firecrackers when I was a little guy. What's wrong with a little firecracker? A snake, a smoke bomb, low fountains that only go 6 or 8 feet in the air that somebody could do off their patio in the green grass of their backyard.
Similar to what Wichita has.
Very similar to what Wichita has. And if you ask other cities, and there's a million different answers out there, but so you do only ground and low level stuff. You give them a specific window, which this ordinance does. You give them a specific time frame, which this ordinance does. It's got to be on private property or with permission, which this ordinance does. I think the key is strict enforcement and finding those who play outside the boundaries, though. We got to find some way to catch them and get to them. So, and in my opinion, passing this ordinance is probably going to come at some cost to the taxpayers, because we're going to see, as the fire department and probably the police department, we're going to see increased activity over 4th of July. One structure fire like that, a 4-hour structure fire where I bring 12 guys back on overtime for 3 or 4 hours, you know, we're talking $2,000 or $3,000 for a structure fire, which is basically the cost of one of those permits. So
I would like to, you know, I understand where you're coming from, Kelly, and your passion, and I appreciate it. I really do.
Thank you.
I do think that we ought to allow it this year, see what goes on. That way, next year when we're doing an ordinance, we'll have somewhere to say, hey, we don't want this anymore, we don't want that anymore, you can't do this, you can't do that, okay?
I disagree with you, Commissioner Carlisle. When I became commissioner, they gave me a code of the city of Liberal, and under the fire department section, it says, fireworks prohibited except as otherwise provided herein. It shall be unlawful for any person to keep, store, display for sale, fire, or discharge any fireworks in the city at this time. And I think at this time we should let that stand until we can study this further and have more time to work on this in anticipation of 4th of July next year.
I really think we can make that happen.
I'm a fan of the same strategy. I think, you know, if we throw some time at this and we do some research, you know, with other communities, that we could come to a better solution. Truth be told, I'm a fan of it personally because I grew up out on the farm and I love fireworks and we always had fun. And I have a kid and I think it'd be a lot of fun. But unlike on the alcohol ordinance, I've had quite a few people reach out to me not in favor of this one. So I think, you know, I'm very excited about the fact that you guys are willing to reapproach it over time and kind of reevaluate it. But that's a tough one to want to do right now.
I want to make a motion that we do ordinance 4503 and we'll see where it goes.
Do we already have a motion in a second?
Yep, you already did.
Yep.
By both of you.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're under discussion right now still.
Discussion.
So I want to still discuss
Did
if
you
I
want
can.
to discuss something?
Yeah, I want to still discuss.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I guess the penalty right now is like $50, is that right?
I don't have my final sheet in front of me.
I think somebody told me that, but it'd be $500 according to this ordinance.
When you put in
And,
not in there.
And I know I made the second on the thing, and we're going to end up voting on it, but something that Kelly said made a lot of sense to me that I really like, and I know I'm in, a lot of people, every time I've ran, people have said, you know, hey, we want fireworks on July 4th, but what I do like that, I mean, that makes sense to me, and that's what it's supposed to do, I guess something makes sense, is we're not putting the sale in this ordinance and giving you the ability to go to each of these stands and make sure they're not selling something that's not going to do what we want it to, because I do believe that makes sense to me, that we're going to give them the opportunity to go down south of the state line or whatever and buy stuff that's not controlled by us and fire it off in our city limits. And I understand that we're actually taking more of a risk on having the fires, which we don't want. But you've looked at this and see the differences in the items that we should allow and shouldn't allow. And then we can control that when we give the permit the next year.
To me, that helps those vendors as well, because then they don't go buy a lot of stuff that they can't sell. They can control their inventory and
And you'd be able to do that in advance of next year to have the opportunity to allow them to know what we want if we did it in the future. I did have other questions and I probably should have, I've been busy, I haven't had time to ask. Does anybody know, is fireworks allowed in, I guess they are in Wichita, right? Because you were saying certain ones are allowed. Garden City, Dodge City, Hayes, Great Bend, everywhere else they're allowed, and are they restricted or?
Wichita has basically these same restrictions we've been talking about here tonight. Matter of fact, I saw an article and I printed it and didn't have a chance to read it, but Wichita will be putting off-duty police officers and firefighters in unmarked vehicles to patrol fireworks safety. Chief Tammy Snow says they expect to put 22 unmarked patrol cars throughout the city. And they basically use their permit fees to pay for that overtime and the use of those vehicles. And they dropped their ticket to $250 per offense, but they intend to write many more tickets this year. They're going to step up their enforcement of it. And again, they shoot from 10 a.m. to midnight, June 27th through July 5th, and fireworks with sparks higher than 6 feet are prohibited. And that's kind of hard for me to judge 6 feet because it'd be your word against mine that, hey, it was 6 foot high. My kind of thoughts on it are, hey,
it's a lot easier.
We can see it over your house. It's
right.
Too high.
Now, so it's pretty, I don't care about 6 to 10, I care about 10 to 30 feet.
Exactly.
But, our says, you've read this then, and how about the things that are in our restrictions right now?
I kind of, again, I didn't get this till late, but I like that, and I think it's crazy that when I received that, I'm trying to find this now.
And I guess what I'm asking, because I'm curious if any of these items in fireworks that are allowed are any of the ones that you would actually exclude if you had the opportunity, or are they the ones that you would include?
I don't necessarily care so much for the helicopter style ones that can still propel into the air. Bottle rockets and Roman candles and the mortars are the things that come to mind quickly, but like, the pinwheels that you nail to a post and things like that, those are the stuff that to me would be acceptable. But just the things that they launch and they go out of control. They used to have the chasers that went along the ground, and you didn't know where they were going when you lit it. To some extent, you didn't know about the little tanks, because we used to buy those little tanks and set them up on the road. And my youngest brother set an entire field on fire where the South Fire Station is right now when a tank blew off the road and got in the ditch. And that thing's a machine. Once it's lit, it just kept firing them little balls and starting fires, and he was trying to stomp them out as fast as he could, but he couldn't get them out.
Just out of curiosity, when did you buy a set of Roman candles?
When did I?
Yeah.
I haven't bought fireworks in years and years and years.
Well, I bought some here about 3 years ago, and I'd be lucky if it got popped out 5 feet.
Well, yeah, I was going to say.
And I remember back in the days, it would go 50, 60
Roman candles was the stick that long, and you'd hold them.
Are we ready to vote on the question? Okay, let's take a vote. All those in favor of the motion to pass ordinance number 4503? Opposed? Okay. Ordinance passes then.
Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief.
City Manager's report.
Well, as usual, I want to thank the staff. You've been real good. Thank you guys for the Arcalian assault. You didn't get quite the help from me you normally do this year, but we made it. So let the commission know, hopefully on the next agenda, we'll have our wastewater agreement for us to review. We've got a lot of things to pick apart on it. The pool was closed this afternoon for maintenance. We had a valve on one of the filters fail, so we shut it down, and they also took the opportunity to polish the slides and do some work, so it should be up and operational tomorrow. The other thing is, And I don't see Brad or Bruce, either one here, so they might still be playing. Our turf machine came in today. It came in a day early. And so they were over there in the park shop like two little kids putting together, just excited, hey, this can do this, and we got this. And so hopefully, Ronnie, you'll see the fields work good for this weekend's tournament.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And that's all I've got.
Okay. Thank you. The next item is items from commissioners, and I want to congratulate again Nora Laird on her retirement, and we certainly appreciate her service, and thank the 43 city employees and the additional help from the community with the Arcalin assault, and thank you to Matt Quint and the Recreation Department and his committee, and thank you to Jim Betts, Justin Alexander, the County Road and Bridge Department, Fred Bloom, the Liberal Fire Department, Gerald Mann, Debbie Gitsky, and the Arcalin Board and the Arcalin staff, and a special thanks to Squeaky Hiddle. The Chamber of Commerce hosted a ribbon cutting for the Best Western Plus Motel and SkyWest Airlines at the airport, and we thank them for doing that for us. And that's all I have. Would you like to be next?
Absolutely. I fluently agree with Connie on everything that she had to share. I appreciate everybody that reaches out to me on a daily basis and allows me to represent their views up here. Also, everybody that comes to these meetings and stays involved in our community, and all the city staff. I know we're probably keeping you guys a little more busy than you've been in a couple months, but greatly appreciate all the hard work. So thank you, everyone, for staying involved.
Mr. Carlisle?
I'd like to thank city staff, police department, really, fire department. Okay.
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to talk quick here. Yeah, again, I want to congratulate Nora and thank her for her service again. And back on the fireworks thing, I guess we'll find out how it works out with the 10 p.m. because that's the biggest complaint I would have is them doing it past the time they're supposed to, and hopefully the word of the amount of the fine will spread enough to make it easier, a little bit easier to control, and if it doesn't, I guess we'll have to relook at it, and I really hope that we're not regretting doing it as far as we have a list of what we're trying to restrict, and I hope that does it, but I really want to take another shot at it next year to give you guys the opportunity and have do some more work on this too. But the only other deal, I know we got a question. We have budget coming up, and I know it's going to be a tough deal this year, trying to work everything out and different things. And I really hate to add work to somebody, but I'd really like to do a little bit of research myself, because I know we've got different. We're changing administration. We're changing the way some things we do, but I asked this one time in 2011 when I was here, asked for wages and stuff, and wanted to compare that to in 2011 to 2007, and I feel like I have the right as a commissioner to ask that question.
Yes.
I would like to see a deal that shows all our employees what positions, and I really don't care that I see names. I'd rather see the position, the structure of the city as far as our employees, what departments, how many people are in each department. And the reason I'm asking for this, I would like to see what we pay for those positions now, and maybe let's just go back 10 years, 2007, 2008. I would like to compare how many positions we have and how much we paid for those positions, and that way I can compare. What I wanted to do at that time is try to follow the rise of whether department heads, and I'm not, like say, I'm not on a witch hunt or anything like that. It is our responsibility to take care of the taxpayers' money, and it's our responsibility to decide how the community is structured, or the city is structured. It's not our worry, it's your worry, more so now than it was, of who does those tasks. But how many people and how those departments are structured is we do have that responsibility, and determine how much of the taxpayers' money is going to be spent. But I would like to compare and see how what's happened
And what I'm asking for is maybe like 2016, 2018, 2006, 2008. I want to actually compare the changes in 2 years back then to the changes in 2 years now. Is that possible?
Can you do that for us,
Do we have
Chris?
records that far back? Or they would be purged by now, wouldn't they?
Well, I mean, we would have records.
But-
In there, the big issue would be you would have a change in personnel within a 10-year gap. So you're not going to have the same person in a position in 2006 that you have in 2018. So
Yep.
you would be really comparing apples and oranges.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, because as a business, if I'm running a business, Kansas is a right-to-work state. And if businesses do it all the time, I've seen banks do it, everybody does it. At some point, sometimes money makes a difference. Okay, I've got 4 people doing this job and we're paying them this much. Well, still takes me 4 people, but we can't pay that much for that deal, so they may have to restructure and have to use different people. But that's, I mean, we are a business, and we do have to look at everything we have to do our budget.
I think we'll have to put in a case on that. Do you know what years you want?
Well, I was thinking that 2016, 2018, maybe what the current is right now, and then compare 2006 to 2008. That way we're about a 10-year deal apart, and see what how much it elevated from 2006 to 2008. Because I know at one time the county was on a freeze on their wages. They went several years, and we were still, the city kept increasing theirs. And
You want positions and rates.
yeah, positions and rates, not necessarily names. I don't really care about names. I want to know basically if we had 200 employees now and had 150 then, because, you know, I know we have some green spaces to take care of that we didn't before, but I want to be able to ask the question, how come it takes 6 people to do this job and we used to do it with 3? And somebody will probably have an answer, because I actually know there's places we don't have enough people, and that's maybe what we find out is, but then I know is that, hey, we're working with 4 people here and we really should have 5 or 6. And we've got to figure out how to make that happen. I mean, it's not about necessary, I mean, it's trying to find out if we can do it less, but we might find out we really need to be spending more. And then we need to figure out how to make that work. So that's really what I'm looking at, is so I understand how many people, I can't tell you how many people we employ, because I should know that. Yeah.
I might be in touch with you on it.
Yeah.
Commissioner Martinez?
I think he said pretty much everything other than congratulate Nora on her retirement, and we'll see how these 2 issues of cereal malt beverage and fireworks work out.
Thank you for making the presentation to her tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That meant a lot to her, I'm sure.
Thank you.
I have one more thing. Alicia told me I missed something.
Okay.
The non-for-profits that have financial requests, they're due to Alicia by Friday, June 29th. So any nonprofits that are requesting financial assistance need to get that to Alicia by Friday.
Okay, moving on, we need to approve the vouchers. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the vouchers in the amount of $1,987,610.46.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Carlisle, to approve the vouchers in the amount of $1,987,610.46. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
I move to go into executive session for 10 minutes to discuss acquisition of property pursuant to KSA 754319B6, which is the preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property exception under the Kansas Open Meetings, and includes City Attorney Kane and City Manager Calvin Burke to the executive session. We will go into executive session at 7:40, and we will return at 7:50.
All in favor of the motion was made by Commissioner Harding. Motion carries.
Who seconded?
Who's second?
Nobody else.
Do we have a second?
Yes, we did. It was
Big one, I don't care.
Yeah, I was gonna say big one.
I'll say
Tony-
somebody
Tony
didn't, I
raised
didn't
his
remember
hand.
her in a second either, so.
Tony raised his hand.
No, Tony did.
Tony did?
Tony
Thank
seconded
you.
it.
That's good.
Okay.
Let me,
Check your schedule.
yeah, let me check my schedule. And I think we don't need to do this like next week.
Wrong chair. I've got Ron's chair.
Probably won't sit on your lap.
Heating it up.
Thank you. This is where I used to sit.
Does the commission wish to take any action
No.
on the result of the executive session?
No.
No.
If no further action is needed, motion is adjourned.